The announcement that changed everything. Amber Hayes sat at her parents' dining table, pushing roasted chicken around her plate while her heart sank deeper with every passing minute. The chandelier above cast warm light on the assembled family, but she felt cold inside. Her sister Natalie sat across from her, practically glowing with excitement, her hand resting on her fiancé Derek's arm. The diamond on her finger caught the light with every gesture, a constant reminder of everything Amber apparently lacked. "So, we've set the date," Natalie announced, her voice bright with joy. "June 15th. We're thinking of the Grand Rosewood Hotel for the reception. Derek's firm is handling everything." Their mother Rita clasped her hands together, tears already forming. "Oh, sweetheart, that's wonderful. June is perfect for a wedding." Frank Hayes, their father, raised his glass. "To Natalie and Derek, we're proud of you both. Successful careers, a beautiful home, and now marriage. You've done everything right." Amber took a long sip of water, trying to swallow the lump forming in her throat. She'd heard variations of this speech her entire adult life. Natalie had always been the golden child. Law degree from a prestigious university, corner office by 30, now engaged to another successful attorney. Meanwhile, Amber had a fine arts degree she'd paid for herself, a tiny studio apartment, and a job at Riverside Books that barely covered rent. "Amber," her father's voice cut through her thoughts. "You're being awfully quiet tonight. Just happy for Natalie," she managed, forcing a smile. "Still doing the painting thing?" Derek asked, his tone suggesting he genuinely couldn't understand why anyone would pursue such an impractical path. "Still creating art?" "Yes," Amber replied, keeping her voice steady. "Actually sold 3 pieces last month at the gallery downtown." "That's nice," her mother said quickly, trying to smooth over the tension. "But honey, have you thought about getting a more stable position? Maybe teaching art at a school. Something with benefits and a retirement plan?" "I'm fine, Mom. The bookstore gives me benefits, and I paint on the side. I'm happy," the lie that started it all. Atlee leaned forward, her expression somewhere between concern and pity. "Are you dating anyone? You know, you're not getting any younger. You're 28 now." 28 isn't ancient," Amber said, feeling her defenses rising. "Of course not." Natalie backtracked. "I just worry about you. You spend so much time alone with your paintings. When was the last time you went on a date?" The table fell silent, all eyes on Amber. She felt the weight of their judgment, their concern, their disappointment. In that moment, surrounded by her perfect sister's perfect life and her family's well-meaning but suffocating worry, something inside her snapped. "Julie, I am seeing someone." The words tumbled out before she could stop them. "We've been together for a few months now." "Really, Amber? Why didn't you say something?" "I wanted to make sure it was serious before introducing him to everyone," Amber improvised, her heart racing. "You know how it is? What does he do?" her father asked, immediately cutting to what he considered important. "He works in construction," Amber said, grabbing at the first thing that came to mind. "Project management. He's really good at what he does." "Construction," her father repeated, his tone neutral but his expression skeptical. "Well, that's honest work." "He sounds wonderful," her mother said, though Amber could hear the slight disappointment behind the enthusiasm. "You'll bring him to the engagement party next month, won't you?" Panic flooded through Amber's system. "I'll have to check his schedule, Amber," Natalie said gently. "The party is in 4 weeks. Surely he can make time for something this important, unless he's not actually that serious about you." Trapped. Completely trapped. "Of course he is. I'll make sure he's there." The rest of the dinner passed in a blur. Amber answered vague questions about her imaginary boyfriend, giving him the name Cole and making up details on the spot. By the time she left her parents' house, she felt sick with anxiety. What had she done? A chance encounter 3 days later, Amber was walking to work when she heard the sound of hammering. A construction crew was renovating the old Mitchell building, 2 blocks from Riverside Books. She'd passed the site dozens of times, barely noticing the workers in their hard hats and reflective vests. But today, she stopped and watched. A man was working on the scaffolding, his movements confident and precise. Even from the street, she could see the focus in his posture, the skill in his hands. He wore a faded gray shirt, jeans covered in dust, and work boots that had seen serious use. An absolutely insane idea began forming in her mind. She stood there for 10 minutes, arguing with herself. This was crazy, desperate, potentially dangerous. But the engagement party was 3.5 weeks away, and she had no other options. She couldn't show up alone and admit she'd lied. She couldn't bring a friend and try to pass them off as her boyfriend. And she definitely couldn't find a real relationship in less than a month. When the man climbed down from the scaffolding for a break, Amber made her decision. She walked over to the construction fence, her palms sweating. "Excuse me?" she called out. He turned, and she got her first good look at him. He was probably in his early 30s, with sandy brown hair and striking hazel eyes that studied her with curiosity. There was something about his face that suggested intelligence and humor, even covered in construction dust. "Can I help you?" he asked, walking over. His voice was deeper than she'd expected, with a warmth that immediately put her slightly at ease. "This is going to sound absolutely insane," Amber began, then stopped. "Actually, there's no way to make this sound sane, so I'm just going to say it. I need someone to pretend to be my boyfriend for one night. An engagement party. 4 weeks from Saturday. I'll pay you." The unexpected agreement, the man blinked, clearly not expecting that. "I'm sorry, what?" Amber felt her face burning. "I know how this sounds. I'm not crazy, I promise. Well, maybe I am a little crazy, but only because I'm desperate. My sister is getting engaged, and my family keeps pressuring me about being single and having an unstable career. And I lied and said I had a boyfriend, and now I have to produce one. And I don't know what else to do," she was rambling, the words pouring out in a rush of anxiety and embarrassment. The man listened, his expression unreadable. "You want to hire me to be your fake boyfriend," he said slowly, making sure he understood. "Just for one night. You'd just have to show up, be polite, answer some basic questions, and help me get through 4 hours with my family. That's it. I have $800 saved. It's yours if you do this. What's your name?" he asked. Amber Hayes. "I'm Cole." He extended a dusty hand, then thought better of it, and lowered it. "And this is definitely the most interesting proposition I've gotten on a job site. So you'll do it?" Hope flickered in Amber's chest. Cole studied her for a long moment. She had the strangest feeling he was seeing more than just her desperation. "I'll do it. But I don't want your money." "What?" "No, I have to pay you. This is a huge favor. Consider it helping someone out," Cole said with a slight smile. "We all get backed into corners sometimes. Besides, I'm curious about the kind of family that would drive someone to hire a fake boyfriend from a construction site." Amber felt tears prick her eyes. "Thank you. Really, thank you so much. Give me your number. We should probably meet up before the party to get our story straight." They exchanged contact information, and as Amber walked away toward the bookstore, she felt a mixture of relief and disbelief. She'd actually done it. She'd hired a fake boyfriend. She had no idea that the man in the dusty work clothes was about to change her life in ways she never imagined. Preparing for the performance 2 weeks before the engagement party, Amber met Cole at a small coffee shop on Henderson Street. She'd suggested somewhere neutral, away from her usual spots where someone might recognize her. The morning sun filtered through the cafe windows as she waited, nervously stirring her latte. When Cole walked in, she almost didn't recognize him. Gone were the dusty work clothes and hard hat. He wore dark jeans and a casual button-down shirt, his hair clean and styled. He looked completely different from the construction worker she'd approached, yet somehow exactly the same. That same quiet confidence filled the space around him. "Hey," he said, sliding into the seat across from her. "Hope I'm not late." "Right on time," Amber replied, trying to calm her racing heart. "Thank you again for doing this. I still can't believe you agreed." Cole ordered a black coffee before turning his full attention to her. "So tell me about your family. If I'm going to convince them I'm your boyfriend, I need to know what I'm walking into." For the next hour, Amber painted a picture of her family dynamics. Her father, Frank, a retired accountant who valued security and traditional success. Her mother, Rita, loving but constantly worried about Amber's unconventional choices. And Natalie, the perfect daughter who'd never stepped out of line or taken a risk in her life? They're not bad people, Amber explained, wrapping her hands around her mug. They love me, but they don't understand me. To them, success means a corner office and a retirement plan. They can't see that creating something beautiful, making art that moves people, that's success too. What kind of art do you make? Cole asked, genuine interest in his voice. Amber felt herself relax slightly. Mostly oil paintings. Cityscapes, but not the typical tourist stuff. I paint the overlooked corners, the alleys where light hits broken windows, the beauty in decay, places that tell stories most people walk right past. That sounds incredible. Do you have pictures? She pulled out her phone, showing him images of her work. Cole studied each one carefully, asking questions about technique and inspiration. His interest seemed authentic, not the polite indifference she usually got from people who thought art was frivolous. "These are really good, Amber," he said finally. "Your family should be proud. They'd be prouder if I had a 401k, she said with a bitter laugh. Crafting their story. "Okay, so how did we meet?" Cole asked, pulling out a small notebook. "We need details that match up if anyone asks us separately." Amber thought for a moment. "The bookstore. You came in looking for a book on architecture. I helped you find it, we started talking, and you asked me out for coffee. When was this?" 3 months ago. Early July. Our first date was coffee at Morrison Park. We talked for 4 hours and lost track of time." Cole smiled. "What do I like about you?" The question caught her off guard. "I don't know." "What would you like about me?" He looked at her thoughtfully. "Your passion. The way your whole face lights up when you talk about art. The fact that you're brave enough to pursue something you love, even when everyone tells you not to. Those seem like pretty easy things to like." Amber felt warmth spread through her chest. "You're good at this. Just being honest," Cole said. "Okay, my turn. What do you like about me?" "You're kind," Amber said, without hesitation. "You agreed to help a complete stranger without asking for anything in return. You're confident, but not arrogant. You actually listen when people talk. And you have really nice eyes." Cole raised an eyebrow. "Nice eyes? They're very expressive," Amber defended, feeling her cheeks warm. "It's the kind of detail my sister would notice and ask about." They spent another hour working through possible questions and scenarios. Where they'd gone on dates, whether they'd said they loved each other yet, what their plans were for the future. With each detail, their fictional relationship became more real, more believable. "One more thing," Cole said as they prepared to leave. "What should I wear?" "The party is semi-formal. Slacks and a nice shirt should be fine. Nothing too fancy. We want them to believe you're a construction project manager, not a CEO." Cole's expression flickered for just a moment, something Amber couldn't quite read. "Right, construction manager. Got it." The day of reckoning, the Saturday of the engagement party, arrived with perfect spring weather. Amber stood in her tiny studio apartment, changing outfits for the 4th time. She'd settled on a deep blue dress that made her feel confident without trying too hard. Simple jewelry, minimal makeup. Her dark hair falling in loose waves past her shoulders. When her doorbell rang at exactly 3 o'clock, her stomach clenched with anxiety. This was it. No turning back now. She opened the door and felt her breath catch. Cole stood there in charcoal gray slacks and a crisp white shirt, the sleeves rolled up to his forearms. He looked polished, but not overdone, exactly right for the occasion. But it was more than his clothes. There was something about the way he carried himself that made her realize she might have underestimated who she'd asked for help. "You look beautiful," Cole said, his hazel eyes warm with genuine appreciation. "You clean up remarkably well," Amber replied, grabbing her purse. "Ready to meet the family?" "Ready as I'll ever be." He offered his arm with a slight smile. "Shall we?" The drive to the Grand Rosewood Hotel was simultaneously too long and too short. Cole asked questions about each family member, committing details to memory. He was calm, focused, treating this like an important project he intended to execute perfectly. "Hey," he said as they pulled into the parking lot. Whatever happens in there, I've got your back. Okay? Amber nodded, not trusting her voice. Into the lion's den, the engagement party was being held in the hotel's garden terrace, decorated with white roses and twinkling lights. At least 80 people milled around, champagne glasses in hand. Amber spotted her family immediately. Her parents near the entrance, Natalie and Derek holding court in the center, various aunts, uncles, and cousins scattered throughout.
Amber.
Her mother's voice cut through the ambient conversation. Rita Hayes rushed over, her eyes immediately going to Cole. "And you must be Cole. We've heard so much about you." "All good things, I hope," Cole said warmly, shaking her hand. "Mrs. Hayes, thank you for including me tonight." Amber talks about her family constantly.
Please.
"Call me Rita," her mother beamed. "And this is Frank, Amber's father." Frank Hayes approached, his handshake firm and assessing. "Cole, construction project management, Amber tells us." "Yes, sir. Commercial renovations mostly. The Mitchell building downtown is our current project. That old place? Heard they're converting it to loft apartments. Big undertaking," Cole agreed. "But there's something satisfying about taking a structure with history and giving it new life, preserving the character while making it functional for modern use." Frank's expression softened slightly. "Sounds like you take pride in your work." "I do. I believe anything worth doing is worth doing right." Amber watched in amazement as Cole navigated the conversation effortlessly. He wasn't trying too hard or putting on an act. He was simply being present, engaged, genuinely interested in what people had to say. Natalie appeared with Derek, her sharp eyes taking in every detail. "So this is the mysterious boyfriend. I was beginning to think you'd invented him, Amber." "Natalie," Amber said, keeping her voice light. "This is Cole. Cole, my sister Natalie, and her fiancé Derek." "Congratulations on your engagement," Cole said, shaking both their hands. "Beautiful venue you've chosen?" "Thank you," Natalie replied, her gaze assessing. "So, construction. That must be interesting work." "It has its moments," Cole said easily. "Every project is different. Today I might be coordinating electrical systems. Tomorrow, I'm problem-solving structural issues. It keeps you on your toes. It's quite different from what Derek does," Natalie continued. "He's a partner at Whitman and Associates. Corporate law. Impressive," Cole said, and he sounded like he meant it. "That must require incredible attention to detail and long hours." Derek puffed up slightly. "It does. The corporate world is demanding, but the rewards are substantial. Financially and professionally. Different paths work for different people. I tried the corporate office environment once. Nearly went crazy being inside all day." Winning hearts as the evening progressed, Amber watched Cole work the room. He talked sports with her Uncle Raymond, admired her Aunt Patricia's garden photos, and played a gentle game of catch with her young cousin Timothy. But it was when he met her grandmother that something shifted. Dorothy Hayes sat in a cushioned chair near the fountain, watching the party with sharp eyes. At 84, she saw more than most people realized. "Grandma," Amber said softly, kneeling beside her chair, "I want you to meet Cole." Cole immediately understood the right approach. He didn't hover or speak loudly like she was hard of hearing. He simply pulled up a chair and sat at her level, meeting her eyes with respect. "Mrs. Hayes," he said, "Amber tells me you used to paint." Dorothy's weathered face brightened. "Oh, that was years ago. Nothing serious, just watercolors. Landscapes mostly. Amber gets her talent from you then. Have you seen her recent work? The series on urban decay?" "She showed me pictures," Dorothy said, her eyes moving to Amber with pride. "My granddaughter has a gift. Always has. Even when she was little, she saw the world differently. She still does," Cole said gently. "It's one of the things I admire most about her. She doesn't see what everyone else sees. She finds beauty where others find nothing." Dorothy studied him for a long moment. "You really see her, don't you? Not who her family wants her to be, but who she actually is." "I do," Cole said simply, and the way he looked at Amber in that moment made her forget this was supposed to be fake. Cracks in the performance's evening turned to night and champagne flowed freely. The conversations became more direct. Amber found herself separated from Cole, cornered by her father near the dessert table. "He's a good man," Frank said, watching Cole laugh at something Uncle Raymond had said. "Polite, respectful, clearly cares about you." "He does," Amber said, the lie tasting bitter now. "But construction, Amber, that's hard work. Physical work. What happens when he's 50 and his body can't take it anymore? Have you thought about the long term?" "Dad, he's a project manager, not a laborer. And even if he was, there's nothing wrong with honest work. Not saying there is." Frank backtracked. "I just want you to be realistic. You're an artist with an unstable income. He's in construction with an uncertain future. How will you support a family? Buy a house? Save for retirement?" Amber felt anger flare in her chest. Maybe there's more to life than financial security. Maybe happiness matters too. "Happiness doesn't pay bills, sweetheart." Before Amber could respond, Cole appeared at her side, his hand gentle on her lower back. "Everything okay?" "Fine," Amber said tightly. "Just having a reality check about our impractical life choices." Cole's expression didn't change, but something in his eyes hardened slightly. "Mr. Hayes, I understand your concern for your daughter, but Amber is one of the most capable people I've ever met. She's built a life doing something she loves, and that takes more courage than most people have. As for me, I may work with my hands, but I'm good at what I do. I make a decent living, I save responsibly, and I plan for the future. But more importantly, I value Amber for who she is, not who anyone thinks she should be." Frank looked taken aback. "I didn't mean to imply otherwise." "Of course not," Cole said smoothly. "If you'll excuse us, I think they're about to cut the cake." As they walked away, Amber felt something crack in her chest. The way Cole had defended her, stood up for her choices, made her feel valued in a way she couldn't remember feeling before. And the worst part was, none of it was real. He was playing a role, saying what a good boyfriend would say, except it hadn't felt like acting. The goodbye. That felt wrong. The party wound down around 10 o'clock. Amber said goodbye to her family, accepting her mother's enthusiastic hug and her father's grudging approval. Natalie pulled her aside as they were leaving. "I like him," she said quietly. "He's different from what I expected, but there's something genuine about him." "Don't let him go, Amber." Guilt twisted in Amber's stomach. "I won't." In the car, silence stretched between them. Cole drove carefully, his eyes on the road. "You were amazing tonight," Amber said finally. "Seriously, you should win an award." "My entire family loved you. It wasn't acting," Cole said quietly. Amber's heart skipped. "What? The things I said about your art, about your courage, about seeing you for who you are. That wasn't performance, Amber. That was truth." "Cole, you barely know me." He pulled up in front of her apartment building and turned to face her. "I know you walked up to a construction site and asked a stranger for help because you were desperate. I know you worked 2 jobs to support your art because it matters more to you than comfort. I know you light up when you talk about finding beauty in broken things. And I know that somewhere between planning this fake relationship and watching you with your grandmother tonight, this stopped feeling fake to me." Amber's breath caught in her throat. "I don't understand. I'm saying I'd like to see you again. For real this time. No performance, no fake stories. Just 2 people getting to know each other." "Why?" Amber whispered. "Why would you want that?" Cole smiled, that genuine smile that transformed his whole face. "Because you're extraordinary and you don't even know it. Because you saw a guy in dusty work clothes and treated him like a person worth talking to. Because I haven't stopped thinking about you since you made that crazy proposition 2 weeks ago." "This is insane," Amber said, but she was smiling. "This whole thing is completely insane." "Maybe," Cole agreed. "But maybe the best things start in unexpected ways. What do you say, Amber? Want to give this a real shot?" She looked at this man who'd helped her without asking for anything, who'd stood up for her in front of her family, who somehow saw value in the parts of herself she'd been taught to hide. "Yes," she said. "I'd really like that." Cole's smile widened. "Good, then I should probably tell you something before we go any further." "What's that?" "I haven't been completely honest about who I am." Amber felt her stomach drop. Here it was. The reveal that would shatter this fragile, unexpected thing between them. What do you mean? Let me take you to breakfast tomorrow, Cole said. I'll explain everything. I promise it's nothing bad, just something you should know if we're going to do this for real. Despite her anxiety, Amber found herself nodding. Okay, breakfast tomorrow. I'll pick you up at 9, Cole said. He leaned over and pressed a gentle kiss to her cheek, his lips warm against her skin. Sleep well, Amber. She climbed out of the car, feeling dizzy with confusion and possibility. As she watched him drive away, she wondered what secret he was hiding. She had no idea that tomorrow would change everything she thought. She knew the morning after Amber barely slept. She spent most of the night replaying the engagement party in her mind, analyzing every moment with Cole, trying to separate what had been performance from what had been real. By the time her alarm went off at 7, she'd given up on sleep entirely. She stood in the shower, letting hot water wash away her anxiety while questions swirled through her mind. What hadn't Cole been honest about? Was he married? In witness protection? Secretly a criminal? Her imagination ran wild with possibilities, each more dramatic than the last. By 8:45, she'd changed clothes 3 times and settled on jeans and a soft green sweater. Casual, but put together. She was applying mascara when her doorbell rang. 15 minutes early. Cole stood in her doorway wearing dark jeans and a gray Henley, holding 2 cups of coffee. I know I'm early, he said. I couldn't wait any longer. Thought you might need this. Amber accepted the coffee gratefully. I barely slept. Neither did I, Cole admitted. I kept thinking about what I need to tell you and how you might react. That's not ominous at all, Amber said, trying to lighten the mood despite her racing heart. Let's take a walk, Cole suggested. There's a park a few blocks from here. I think better when I'm moving. They walked in silence for a few minutes, sipping coffee in the cool morning air. Morrison Park was quiet this early on a Sunday, just a few joggers and dog walkers enjoying the peaceful morning. Cole led her to a bench overlooking the small pond where ducks paddled lazily. Okay, Amber said, sitting down and turning to face him. Tell me. Whatever it is, just tell me. The truth revealed, Cole took a deep breath. I do work in construction. That part is true. The Mitchell building downtown, that's my project. But I'm not a project manager? Then what are you? I own the company. Bennett Development Corporation. We do commercial real estate development across 6 states. The Mitchell building is one of 17 projects we're currently renovating. We employ over 300 people and did about $60 million in revenue last year. Amber stared at him, her mind struggling to process this information. You're telling me you're not a construction worker? You're a millionaire developer? I know how this sounds, Cole said quickly. But I wasn't lying when I said I work on site. I do. I'm there most days with my crews because that's the part of the business I love most. The hands-on problem solving, the physical work, seeing a building transform. The business side is necessary, but the construction sites are where I feel most myself. Why didn't you tell me? Amber's voice was quiet, controlled, but her hands were shaking. When I approached you, when I offered you money, when I poured my heart out about my family, judging me for not being successful enough. Why didn't you say something? Cole turned to face her fully. Because when you walked up to that construction fence, you saw me as a person. Not a dollar sign, not an opportunity, not someone who could help your career or improve your status. You saw a guy in work clothes and you treated me like an equal. Do you know how rare that is? So this was a test? Anger flared in Amber's chest. You let me humiliate myself. Let me think I was hiring some broke construction worker, and it was all just to see if I was worthy of talking to the great Cole Bennett. No, Cole said firmly. It wasn't like that. When you asked me to be your fake boyfriend, I said yes because you were brave and desperate and real. I don't know what to do with this information, Amber said honestly. Part of me wants to walk away because this foundation feels shaky. But another part of me remembers how you stood up for me last night, how you defended my art and my choices. That felt real. It was real, Cole insisted. Everything I said about you, about your courage and your talent and the way you see the world differently, all of that was completely genuine. The only thing I wasn't honest about was my bank account. Family complications. Amber's phone rang, breaking the tension. She glanced at the screen and felt her stomach drop. It's my sister. Answer it, Cole encouraged. We can finish this conversation after. Amber accepted the call. Hey, Natalie. Amber, we need to talk. Her sister's voice was strange, somewhere between concerned and excited. Are you sitting down? I'm at Morrison Park. What's going on? Derek just told me something interesting. One of his partners at the firm handles corporate real estate law. Guess whose company they represent? Amber's blood ran cold. Natalie, don't. Bennett Development Corporation? Your boyfriend Cole? He's not a construction project manager, Amber. He's Cole Bennett, the CEO. His company is worth hundreds of millions. Why didn't you tell us? It's complicated, Amber said weakly. Does he know you know? Or were you planning to surprise everyone with your secret millionaire boyfriend? Natalie's voice held an edge Amber had rarely heard. This is going to change everything. You realize that? Mom and Dad will be thrilled. You'll finally be the daughter with the impressive partner. That's not why I'm with him, Amber said, her voice rising. This has nothing to do with his money. Then why the secrecy? Why let everyone think he was just a regular construction worker? Because that's what he wanted. He wanted people to see him, not his company or his bank account. There was a pause. Are you telling me he lied about who he was? No. Yes, sort of. Look, it's complicated, and I'm trying to figure it out myself. Can you please not tell Mom and Dad yet? They're going to find out eventually, Amber. News like this doesn't stay quiet. Right. I know. Just give me a day to process this, okay? Please, Natalie sighed. 24 hours. But then I think you owe them the truth. Whatever that is. After Amber hung up, she turned to Cole with tears in her eyes. She knows. Her fiancé's law firm works with your company. They know who you are. Cole's jaw tightened. And they'll tell your parents. She's given us 24 hours. But yes, eventually they'll know. And then everything changes. Suddenly, I'm not the disappointing daughter anymore. I'm the one who landed a millionaire. And none of it will be about me or my art or the actual relationship. It'll all be about your money and your status and how I finally got something right. Confronting reality, they walked back toward Amber's apartment in heavy silence. The morning that had started with the hope of honesty and new beginnings now felt weighted with complications. At her building entrance, Cole stopped her. Tell me what you're thinking. All of it. Amber leaned against the brick wall, looking up at the sky. I'm thinking that I finally meet someone who seems to understand me, who doesn't judge my choices or make me feel small. And it turns out the whole thing was built on half-truths and hidden identities. I'm thinking that no matter what happens between us now, my family will see you as the prize I won, not the person I chose. I'm thinking that I don't know if what we felt last night was real or just good acting. It was real, Cole said intensely. At least for me it was. Every word, every moment. The money doesn't change who I am, Amber. Doesn't it, though? She met his eyes. You're Cole Bennett, CEO of a multi-million-dollar corporation. You have power, influence, resources. I can't even imagine. How can we possibly be equals in a relationship? The same way we were equals when you thought I was a construction worker, Cole argued. The number in my bank account doesn't change my personality or my values or what I care about. I'm still the same person who agreed to help a stranger, who defended you to your father, who thinks your art is extraordinary. But you're not just some nice guy anymore. You're wealthy and powerful, and that changes the dynamic, whether we want it to or not. Cole stepped closer, his voice gentle but firm. Let me ask you something. If I really was just a project manager making $50,000 a year, would you want to see me again after last night? Yes, Amber answered without hesitation. Why? Because you made me feel seen. Because you stood up for me. Because you understand what it's like to disappoint your family just by being yourself. Because when I talk to you, I feel like I can breathe. And that's what matters, Cole said. Not the money, not the company, not what your family thinks or what my father expects. Just to people who understand each other trying to build something real. The hard choice Amber wanted to believe him. She wanted to ignore the voice in her head warning her that wealth creates impossible power imbalances, that her family would never see her the same way again, that this fairy tale was too good to be true. "I need time," she said finally, "to process all of this, to figure out what I actually feel versus what I'm afraid of. Can you give me that?" "How much time?" Cole asked, and she could hear the fear in his voice that she was looking for a gentle way to walk away. "I don't know. A few days? A week? I just need to get my head straight." Cole nodded slowly. "Okay, I'll give you space. But Amber, I meant what I said yesterday about wanting something real with you. That hasn't changed just because you know the truth now." "What about your father?" Amber asked. "Won't he have opinions about you dating a broke artist?" A smile flickered across Cole's face. "My father has opinions about everything I do. I stopped living for his approval years ago. Besides, I think he'd actually respect you. You're building something from nothing based on pure talent and determination. That's the same way he started his company, or he'll think I'm a gold digger trying to trap his son." "Then he'll be wrong," Cole said simply. "And I'll correct him." They stood there in the morning sunlight, the distance between them feeling both inches and miles. "I should go," Amber said finally. "I have a lot to think about." "Call me when you're ready," Cole said. "Or if you decide you're not ready. Either way, just let me know." He leaned in slowly, giving her time to pull away. When she didn't, he pressed a gentle kiss to her forehead. "For what it's worth, meeting you has been the best unexpected thing that's happened to me in years." Then he walked away, leaving Amber standing alone on her doorstep with her heart in chaos. Finding clarity, the next 3 days were torture. Amber threw herself into her art, spending long hours in her small studio apartment painting furiously. She created angry slashes of color that eventually softened into something more complex. Confusion and hope and fear all bleeding together on canvas. Her grandmother called on Tuesday evening. "Your mother told me about Cole," Dorothy said without preamble. "That he's some big CEO, and you didn't know?" "He told me the day after the party," Amber said, exhausted from explaining the situation repeatedly. "It's complicated, Grandma." "Love usually is," Dorothy replied. "But let me ask you something. When he defended you at that party, when he talked about your art and your courage, did it feel like a man saying what you wanted to hear? Or did it feel like someone who genuinely saw your worth?" Amber closed her eyes, remembering. "It felt genuine." "Then the money is just details, sweetheart. I've lived long enough to know that finding someone who truly sees you is rare. Don't throw that away because you're scared of what other people will think. What if he only likes the version of me he met? The brave woman who asked a stranger for help? What if he sees the real me and realizes I'm just scared and uncertain most of the time? Then he'll see you're human," Dorothy said gently. "And if he's worth keeping, he'll love you anyway." After hanging up, Amber sat with her grandmother's words. She thought about Cole showing up on construction sites because he loved the physical work. Despite his father's disapproval, she thought about him defending her choices to her family, standing up for her right to pursue art over stability. She thought about the way he'd looked at her paintings with genuine interest, asking real questions instead of polite ones, and she realized her grandmother was right. She was letting fear make her decisions. Taking a leap on Thursday morning, Amber called Cole. "Can you meet me at the Mitchell building?" "The one you're renovating? Now?" He sounded surprised but hopeful. Now, 30 minutes later, she stood in front of the construction site. Cole emerged from the building in his work clothes, dust on his jeans, and a tool belt around his waist. This was the version of him she'd first met, the one who'd agreed to help without asking for anything in return. "Hi," she said nervously. "Hi," he replied, stopping a few feet away like he was afraid of spooking her. "You wanted to see the building?" "I wanted to see you. The real you. Not the CEO in a business suit or the guy pretending to be my boyfriend. Just Cole, working on something he loves." A smile spread across his face. "Want a tour?" For the next hour, Cole showed her through the Mitchell building. He explained the original architecture, pointed out details they were preserving, showed her the craftsmanship going into the restoration. His passion was evident in every word, every gesture. This wasn't about money or status. This was about creating something beautiful, restoring something broken, finding value where others saw decay. "It's like what you do," Amber said suddenly. "Your buildings and my art, we're both trying to show people beauty they might have missed." Cole stopped walking and turned to face her. "I hadn't thought of it that way, but you're right. I'm sorry I needed space," Amber said. "I'm sorry I let fear make me doubt what was happening between us. The truth is, finding out you're wealthy scared me because suddenly this felt too good to be true. Like I was in some fairy tale that would disappear when reality set in, and now I'm standing in a building covered in dust, watching you talk about original crown molding and structural integrity with the same passion I feel about color, theory, and composition. And I'm thinking that maybe we're more similar than different. Maybe the fact that we both disappoint our families by choosing passion over prestige is exactly why this works." Cole closed the distance between them. "Are you saying what I think you're saying?" "I'm saying I want to try this for real. No more fake relationships. No more hiding who we are. Just honest, messy, complicated real life. If you're still interested, if I'm still interested." Cole laughed, the sound echoing in the empty building. "Amber, I haven't stopped thinking about you for a single day since you walked up to me and asked me to be your fake boyfriend. I'm absolutely still interested, even though my family is going to be unbearable about your money. Even though my dad is suddenly going to think I'm making good choices because I'm dating a CEO. Even though people will probably think I'm with you for the wrong reasons. Even though all of that," Cole said firmly, "because I know the truth. You liked me when you thought I was just a construction worker. You saw value in me before you knew about the company or the money, and that matters more than anything anyone else thinks." Amber felt tears prick her eyes. "I do like you. A lot. Maybe more than I should after such a short time, but I can't help it." Cole cupped her face gently in his hands, his calloused thumbs brushing away the tears on her cheeks. "There's no timeline for this stuff. Sometimes you just know when something feels right." "It does feel right," Amber whispered. "Terrifying, but right. Then let's be terrified together," Cole said, and kissed her. It was nothing like the gentle peck on the cheek or the performative moments at the engagement party. This was real and electric and full of promise. When they finally pulled apart, both were breathing hard. "So what happens now?" Amber asked, still in his arms. "Now we do this the right way. I take you on a proper first date. We get to know each other without any pretense or hidden agendas. We figure out what this is at our own pace." "What about my family?" "They know the truth now." Cole smiled. "Then we tell them the whole truth. That we met in an unconventional way. That we started as something fake and became something real. That we're still figuring things out, but we want to try. They're going to have so many opinions," probably Cole agreed. "But opinions are just noise. Amber, what matters is what we think, what we feel, what we choose to build together. Facing the music together, that's Saturday." Amber invited her parents and Natalie over for dinner at her apartment. Cole insisted on helping her cook, and they spent the afternoon in her tiny kitchen, bumping into each other and laughing as they prepared pasta from scratch. "You're really good at this," Amber observed, watching him knead dough with practiced efficiency. "My grandmother taught me," Cole explained. "She believed everyone should know how to make a proper meal. Some of my best memories are cooking with her in her kitchen. Does she know about me?" "I told her yesterday. She wants to meet you. Fair warning, she's going to love you and probably show you every embarrassing photo from my childhood." "I can handle that," Amber grinned. "I need ammunition for future arguments." When her family arrived, the tension was immediate. Her mother kept glancing at Cole like he might disappear. Her father was cordial, but watchful. Natalie looked fascinated by the whole situation. They sat down to dinner, and for a few minutes, everyone focused on the food. Then Frank cleared his throat. "So Cole, Natalie tells us you own Bennett Development Corporation." "I do," Cole said calmly, not apologizing or explaining. "That's quite different from being a construction project manager," Dad Amber warned. "It's okay," Cole said, touching her hand gently. "Mr. Hayes, you're right. I wasn't completely honest about my position at the company, but I was honest about everything else. I do work on construction sites most days. I do love the hands-on work. The CEO title is just what's on my business card. Why the deception? Rita asked, her voice more curious than accusatory. Cole and Amber exchanged glances. That's a longer story, Amber said. And it starts with me. She took a deep breath and told them everything. The lie about having a boyfriend, the desperation that drove her to approach a stranger at a construction site, Cole's agreement to help without payment, the engagement party, and everything that came after. So you hired him to be your fake boyfriend? Natalie asked, her eyes wide. I tried to hire him, Amber corrected. He refused payment. He just wanted to help. Why would you do that? Frank asked Cole directly. Because I understood what it felt like to disappoint family just by being yourself, Cole said simply. My father built this company from nothing, and when I took over, I was supposed to be this corporate leader focused only on growth and profit. But I kept showing up at construction sites because that's the part of the job I actually love. He thinks I'm wasting my potential, that I should be in boardrooms, not wearing a tool belt. Frank's expression softened slightly. So you know what it's like to have family who doesn't understand your choices. I do. And when Amber told me about her situation, about loving her art, but feeling like she was letting everyone down by not pursuing something more traditional, so I agreed to help. But it became more than that, Rita observed, looking between them. It did, Amber admitted. Somewhere between planning our fake relationship and actually spending time together, real feelings developed. At least for me, for both of us, Cole added firmly. I know this started in an unconventional way. I know the foundation seems shaky. But what Amber and I have now is genuine. We're still figuring it out, still learning about each other, but we want to try building something real. Understanding and acceptance, there was a long silence. Then Dorothy, who'd been quiet through the whole explanation, spoke up. Rita, do you remember when you told Frank you wanted to be a teacher instead of going into business with your father? Rita blinked in surprise. Mom, that was 40 years ago. Your father was furious, Dorothy continued. Said you were throwing away opportunities, that teaching didn't pay enough, that you'd regret it. But you married Frank anyway, became a teacher anyway, and you were happy. Remember? I remember, Rita said quietly. And Frank, you wanted to be an accountant when your father expected you to take over the family hardware store. He didn't speak to you for a year. Frank shifted uncomfortably. Times were different then, were they? Dorothy challenged. Or do we just forget our own rebellions when our children make choices we don't understand? She turned to Amber and Cole. You to remind me of your grandfather and me. Everyone said we were too different, that it wouldn't work. But we had 52 years together before he passed. Want to know our secret? What was it? Amber asked. We chose each other every single day. Not because it was easy, or because our families approved, but because we valued what we had more than we feared what others thought. That's all any relationship needs. Choice and courage. Rita reached across the table to take Amber's hand. I'm sorry if I made you feel like your art wasn't enough. Like you weren't enough, just as you are. I was worried about your security, your future, but I forgot to celebrate your courage in pursuing something you love. I'm sorry I judged your boyfriend based on his job title, Frank added. Looking at Cole, you clearly care about my daughter. That should have been enough for me from the start. Natalie raised her glass. 2 unconventional beginnings and genuine feelings. May you two be very happy, regardless of how you started. They all clinked glasses, and Amber felt tears streaming down her face. Cole squeezed her hand under the table, his thumb tracing gentle circles on her palm. Building something real after her family left. Amber and Cole cleaned up the kitchen together. The evening had gone better than she'd dared hope. Not perfect, but real and honest. That wasn't so terrible, Cole said, drying the last plate. My grandmother saved us, Amber laughed. She always does. She's remarkable. You're lucky to have her, I know. Amber hung up the dish towel and turned to face him. So what happens now? We've told the truth, faced my family, laid everything out in the open. What's next? Cole pulled her close, wrapping his arms around her waist. Now we do the boring, beautiful work of actually building a relationship. I take you on dates. You show me your favorite art galleries. We learn each other's coffee orders and what makes each other laugh. We have arguments and make up. We meet each other's friends and families. We figure out if this thing between us is just chemistry or something that can last. That sounds nice, Amber said, resting her head against his chest. Scary, but nice. The best things usually are, Cole replied, kissing the top of her head.